What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today I want to show you guys a PvP team I have been experimenting with, and this PvP team uses one of the most underused faction skills of this season, and I think it has a very interesting mechanic, so let's take a look at it. Okay, this fight is a fight I made against Atraxi. You can see we are even at a Paragon disadvantage here. We're using Corrin at P4, we're using Siren, we're using Hogan, and we're using Bonnie and Athalia. And that means, yes, we are using the Lightbearer faction skill that gives us Hogan. And let's just check out this fight. And you can see right off the bat, we're taking a ton of damage. Bonnie doing some damage against the enemy, Hogan trying to keep everybody alive, Athalia dashing over doing a ton of true damage, and we have Siren to also block the enemy artifact at the start, but also do a fair bit of damage himself. And now we come to a very interesting situation, because at this very moment we basically won the fight, and in this situation, Athalia was the last hero. I've seen many fights where none of our heroes survived and we won the fight. So fairly interesting. Also, those prime carriers took a suspiciously big amount of damage. And let's talk about the mechanics and why this works. Before we get into that, let me quickly tell you about Lightbearer though. Lightbearer is the best site for you to buy dragon crystals, and you get them there at a heavy discount. Just need to type in your ID that you find in-game on your profile, and you can just buy as many packs as you want at the same time, and they will immediately after the purchase pop up in-game, and you have a ton of dragon crystals. Also, you can support my channel by going through the link below, and you also have a little bit from that, because if you register through that link, you get an 8% discount coupon that you can use on a first purchase, for example, and a 3% discount coupon for the first 200 people that register through that on top. So make sure you go through Lightbearer if you want to buy some dragon crystals, and with that, back to the video. So many faction skills or many teams at the moment focus on the Wilder faction skill. The interesting thing about it is it keeps you basically safe for 10 seconds, can keep 2 heroes invincible as long as no other heroes on your team die. Invincible for 10 seconds. And I thought, well, that is kind of strong, but what if I could just let my heroes die and still win? And the way I achieve this is by, for the one thing, using Bonnie. Bonnie in this team is fairly potent because we give the enemy a damage over time that continues to deal very good damage, and she has this ability with gives us aging, and aging keeps dealing damage to the enemies, and as long as we get a kill we will spread that, and that deals damage throughout the fight, and it allows us for some quick kills because it's a ton of damage. Compared to Athalia, of course, not really the super big amount, but still a fair bit of damage here. Compared to enemy Athalia, we get it into a bit better perspective. And then, of course, we're using Athalia. When Athalia dies, she just returns to her Lance form, will continue to be on the battle as Lance, and have her attack reduced by 35%, so it's still not bad. When she dies, it's also quite alright. Another interesting option for this team would be Burial, because Burial, well, he also doesn't really die, he would return. It wouldn't quite be the same offensive power as like an Athalia, but maybe it would work. I just don't have him at Paragon 4 or High Paragon at that, it's just Supreme Plus, so couldn't really try that one. But, well, when all of our heroes are dead, don't we lose the fight? Yeah, on every other faction skill you lose the fight when your 5 initial heroes are dead. On the Lightbearer faction skill, that is not the case, because on Lightbearer we get a 6th hero, which is of course Hogan. And Hogan descends from the sky, lands in front of the frontmost enemy, dealing damage equal to 230% of attack to enemies within 1 tiles and stunning them. So we get a nice stun, which is cool. Hogan inherits 10% of team attack and 100% of team HP. And then gets an attack bonus equal to 45% of Prime Care's base attack and HP bonus equal to 110% of the Prime Care's max base HP with 50% damage reduction. And we are able to heal this guy as well. Heals Hogan by an amount equal to 100% of the damage dealt by the Prime Carrier. And this is what allows us to really stay alive. Let's just try another fight against Atraxi. Have to say we don't really have a superb win rate, but given our Paragon difference and everything else, and then the suboptimal hero choice that is Corrin, I'm still fairly happy with it. You can see the big guy over here, super big HP, also heals, and he can take more than one ult from Athalia, which is really, really impressive. He can take more than one ult from Athalia. Sometimes 2 or 3 ults are required to even get him down, which is insane. And this is probably the most insane win that I have had against this. Corrin even surviving super long. And then for Athalia, it really doesn't matter. So we have this hero there that has super, super big HP and that can carry us throughout the fight, is one of the best tanks that we have right now in the game, because 50% damage reduction and like HP of the values of your entire team with healing from 2 heroes that deal damage. It's really hard to kill Hogan. And does that mean you win every single fight with that? Well, not really. You sometimes struggle a bit against, well, the Wilder comms really, because the Wilder comms also deal a lot of damage, because they can build a little bit glass cannon. They have 2 heroes there that are invincible, and of course they make use of that. So we can try the same thing here. Let's put that to use and let's see how that works out. I definitely got a win before, but it's tough to really survive for the 10 seconds. We have a big shield there from our Hogan. Get, of course, the ult counter. Still alive there, our Hogan. We can see a little bit how much damage this guy can really take, though, which is kind of insane, because we should get some Athalia ults on our Hogan. There is the first one. You can see how long it really takes to get rid of this guy. And this time we even win. So it's really tough to deal with this Hogan if you are able to still hammer on the enemy with Athalia. So really, you can replace the Bonnie. I tried Ludovic in some situations there as well. The main part is really combining the power of Athalia's to still deal damage when she's dead, with Hogan just having tons of HP, and then you can also put Storm Strike spell on that to just continue to deal damage, and that works against a surprisingly big amount of comms. So really something that we haven't seen in this season at all, and my Lightbearer skill isn't even maxed. We could get an additional bit of damage here and additional bit of stun. What I have to say though, Hogan really doesn't deal too much damage. So that is something to keep in mind. Doesn't really deal too much damage, so it's really your Athalia that has to carry you. But on this side, I mean, we still have tons of potential here to deal more damage with this team. If you check out my Athalia, well, plus 15, okay, it's not even super high, and we have had Paragon 2. I mean, it certainly is whaley, but compared to the other heroes on my account, Paragon 2, that is still on the cheaper side. For Paragon 1 and Paragon 4, you each need 4 copies of the hero, and only then you start needing 6, and that is where it becomes really expensive, of course. So, still, I don't want to say fairly achievable, because if you are free to play, and you shouldn't even go for Athalia, but it is a very interesting PvP comp in my opinion, and something that you can look into. The problem that I had with this is really the Lightbearer hero selection, because I wanted some heroes that I can still make somehow reasonably tanky, and I mean a great choice for that is definitely Hogan. And Hogan with all his shields and the true damage conversion that we have from the charms. Over here, we have 40% true damage conversion with the 10% attack buff. I didn't have the optimal charm for him. I kind of wanted to go for skill power, but then again, I mean, the HP and fist death one, that kind of helps him survive a little bit, so it's not too bad. I wasn't too sure about Corrin, because Corrin, I mean, was certainly a meta hero at one point. Now, not so much. What I would have rather used, I'll be honest, is Luca. Luca, just like a straight up tank. Putting that on the team, I think, could have been really, really good. Even though, I mean, he's not really meta, but we have the Shockwave here as well, which can be good. We have a little bit of HP restoration in that. So I could have seen Luca kind of work in this team, but definitely not a Supreme Plus. If I have the decision to make between a Corrin at P4 and the Luca at Supreme Plus, I take the Corrin. And then of course we have the Siren. Siren in our first fight died rather early. In the second fight did a whole lot more. He can be really devastating if he gets too old, but as you know, and if you've ever fought him, this Arcane Barrage, his ability can be very, very insane. And also we get a pretty good fight start into the fight, because we get to block the enemy. We have all the artifact effects in here from a Lightning, Confining Spell, and Star Shard spell, just triggering immediately, and that also helps a lot. And so Siren is definitely a choice that I really wanted to include into this team. If I had to select 3 heroes, that would have been an option. Other than Luca as a tanky hero, honestly, Lucius would have been alright as well. Like giving our heroes a little bit of a shield. Why not? Could have worked out. I went with Corrin in the end. Got a little bit inspired by Vegath here, fighting evil with his Corrin, which I thought was really, really cool. He sent me this for like a Faramore team, and I saw Corrin. And I think this was the point where I started thinking, I was like, what can we do with Corrin? What is possible? And then Zebo showed this team in another situation where he also had the Lightbearer tile, and I think that brought both of those ideas together. And I think it's a pretty cool team. I will show you the formation once again. You can kind of make your own, of course. Let's see, there it is. That is the formation that I was using, kind of with the backmost Athalia. Well, you don't really have to have a backmost just behind the Hogan is what I usually do. Could also, and of course, you want Athalia and Bonnie on the tile. At least you want Athalia on the tile. That is relevant. If you swap Bonnie for something else, you can of course decide to put Siren on the tile instead. That also works, but Athalia really has to be on the Lightbearer tile. That is really, really important. So tell me what you think about this team down below. Have you experimented with a Lightbearer team before? Have you experimented with this mechanic at all? If you have, definitely let me know. And other than that, I wish you a great day, and we'll see us in the next one.